Welcome all to Week 11. Week 10 hit us like a wall, and it is definitely something we would both like to forget. Billy B took a hard hit at 1-4 both ATS and straight up, and I just missed the 500 mark. Who knew the Titans would absolutely thrash the Green Bay Packers? A quick look back at our overall records on the season. Still a good showing for Billy B. As for myself, I'm going to have to bust my ass these next few weeks just to get back to 500. Last week's question of the week asked viewers, will the Dallas Cowboys trade Tony Romo after the season is over? And if so, what team would need him the most? Here are my favorites. First up is Omar Mendez, who thinks Romo will not restructure his contract and he will get traded to the Broncos, as Jerry Jones was interested in Paxton Lynch, who could be used as a trade bait. Our last featured comment of the week goes to Philip. I'm not even going to try to butcher your last name. Good old Phil here thinks the Cowboys should trade Romo to the Browns, as Cleveland needs a leader, and if Romo is healthy, could be the guy they are looking for. Congrats to those who were featured, and don't forget to answer this week's question of the week. For the top 5 teams leading into Week 11, we round off number 5 with a brand new team in the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs defense came up huge for them when they needed them most, and came back from a huge deficit to win the game. Very deserving in the number 5 spot. At number 4, we will stick with the Oakland Raiders. Raiders had a bye week, so not much movement there. At number 3, we have the Seattle Seahawks. They fell out of the top 5 last week and have now catapulted to number 3 thanks to a shootout between Wilson and Brady, with Wilson ultimately prevailing. Number 2 goes to the New England Patriots. The Patriots lost a close one to Seattle and have now lost Gronk for 1 week due to a punctured lung. And at number 1, with no surprise after the way they played in Pittsburgh, is the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys deserve the number 1 spot after having the NFL's best record, along with Zeke's 3 touchdowns and Dak staying resilient in a shootout against a veteran. This leads us to this week's question of the week. Which quarterback will throw for the most yards in Week 11? Comment your response down below, along with how many yards they throw, and the best comments get featured in next week's video. Let's get into the games. Our first game we look at is the Tennessee Titans heading into Indianapolis to take on the Colts. By far the biggest blowout and biggest upset last week was that of the Titans over the Packers. The Titans dominated in all 4 quarters and in all 3 phases of the game. I'm really putting my guard down by doing this, but I'm putting my faith into the Titans here to beat down the Colts. They should easily win this one, but after the way they played last week in Green Bay, and cover the spread. I actually hope the Titans make the playoffs and show people that they are for real.
I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts -3 against the Tennessee Titans. The Colts coming off the bye, and they play much better against their division opponents than they do anywhere else. If you look at the records, the Colts play really poorly against non-division opponents. So I think that at home, they're going to hold their home field advantage, and they're going to beat the Tennessee Titans, who are coming off a pretty big win. It's a letdown situation for them, and the Colts must win here to stay alive for their playoffs. So take the Colts -3 against the Titans and straight up.
The second game we look at should be a gosh darn blowout. The Browns are the Browns, and the Steelers are coming off of a tough loss to Dallas. In my mind, I really want to take our normal advice and never pick against a home division dog, which means I would be picking the Browns to win this game. But in the long run and in reality, we all know Ben is going to light up the Browns defense for at least 4 touchdowns and win by more than 10 points. Take the Steelers in this one, hands down.
All right, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers -9 against the Cleveland Browns. Big Ben played a lot better than he did the second week out of his injury than he did in week 1. I think he'll continue to get better, and I think that offense is just going to put up too many points for the Browns to keep up. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense really let them down against the Cowboys. I think they'll tighten it up a little bit. I know they don't have much talent, but I think they'll be able to shut down the Browns a little bit better than the Cowboys. So take the Pittsburgh Steelers -9 against the Cleveland Browns and straight up.
Our third matchup features 2 teams who found a way to win in Week 11 when Miami travels to LA to take on the Rams. Both teams are coming off of very strong wins, and I think Miami has the upper hand here. LA can't seem to figure out their QB situation yet, and they really can't rely on anyone, and news just broke out that they're going to start Jared Goff this week, so that'll be a brand new rookie quarterback up against Miami's defense. And speaking of Miami's defense, they've been playing more and more like a solidified unit and can find a way to stop Gurley and grind out the win. Did I mention that Tannehill has recently been finding success with his receivers and that the Dolphins have more weapons? I think we all have to take Miami in this one.
I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins +1 against the Los Angeles Rams. The Dolphins are playing pretty good football right now. They're running the ball well, and the Rams are having trouble scoring. So they're going to continue to struggle on offense, and the Dolphins are just going to outscore them. So take the Miami Dolphins +1 against the Los Angeles Rams and straight up.
Our last game will have a significant playoff contention for both teams, whatever the outcome will be. The Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Seattle to take on the red-hot Seahawks. Both of these teams are coming off big upset wins, with Philly shutting down Atlanta's offense and the Seahawks upsetting Tom Brady at home. Which team has the edge in a matchup in which both defenses have the potential to post a shutout? I'm going to go with the team that can spread the ball around and has a more seasoned, and did I mention Super Bowl winning, career in Russell Wilson. Although I think the Eagles can cover that 6-point spread, I think the Seahawks pull off a dramatic win at home. The Eagles aren't that good on the road, they're way better at home, and since this one's in Seattle, we gotta take the Seahawks. Wilson has played lights out last week, and Seattle's a very, very difficult to beat at home. Philly will have its work cut out for them this Sunday as the race in the NFC East heats up.
All right, I like the Seattle Seahawks -6 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams are coming off monster wins. The Eagles play much better at home than on the road. Going to Seattle is going to be a tough task for Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia offense. They have a rookie quarterback, a couple of inexperienced offensive linemen going up to play in Seattle, which is really loud place to play. They're going to have trouble hearing for the offense, and I think it's going to lead to some struggles, and the Seattle defense has been playing pretty well. So I like the Seattle Seahawks -6 against the Philadelphia Eagles and straight up.
I am now 0-3 going to see the Falcons play live and have gone 0-4 over the past 4 weeks for my upset picks. For this week's upset pick, I'm going to test the water and pick an away division dog in primetime. Let's take the Saints over the Panthers. Carolina just handed the game to Kansas City last week, and New Orleans got screwed over on the final and quite controversial PAT for the win. They won't let that happen this week.
And for my upset pick, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers +2.5 against the Washington Redskins. The Packers' offense is not the problem, it's their defense. Everybody's blaming Aaron Rodgers for all their problems, but the defense has really let them down. So I think hopefully Clay Matthews will come back in this one and it'll make a pretty good difference. And I just don't see how Washington's going to be able to score enough points to win this one. So take the Green Bay Packers +2.5 and straight up.
And here's the rest of our picks for Week 11. For this week's Shame Report, only 2 major topics this week that deserve the self-righteousness that is to be shamed. First, the NFL officiating crew at the Broncos-Saints game. We all know this dude stepped out of bounds. Mind you, it was a clean leap over the line and an excellent blocked kick, and it really didn't end up deciding the game. I only say this because there was about a minute left on the clock and he just got across the Saints' territory before stepping out. The Broncos would have got the ball back, and nobody knows if they could have scored that extra point to win the game or not. But using the excuse definitive evidence and not having a freaking sideline cam really screwed the Saints on this one. Once again, the NFL officiating crew always ends up screwing up a call and will not be held accountable for their actions. Lastly, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Ben Roethlisberger ran the best fake spike I've seen and scored the go-ahead touchdown, only to let Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott get back down the field and, with a face mask penalty, got them into field goal range. But it doesn't stop there, as the Steelers got the beatdown put on them with the next play, and Zeke ran it in unscathed. Let's watch that again in slow motion. Look at that domination by Dallas's offensive line. By far the most putrid showing by the Steelers defense this year. In the Hatbox Pick'em League, Stott Sauce took a hard tumble in Week 10, leaving Cameron Cressamore our sole leader this week, who has an overall record of 93-52. Congratulations to him, and don't forget to set your picks by the end of the week. In the Hatbox Survivor Pool, Week 10 was good again to our final 4, as no one was eliminated. Good luck to the last 4 people still standing. Out of those still standing, there's only one person who has yet to get a strike against them. Our Week 10 leader and our overall last man undefeated still is Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans has yet to get a strike against them and chose the Arizona Cardinals, who in turn won by 3 points. Congratulations to him, and don't forget to set your lineup by the end of this week. After a dreadful Week 10, we look to get back in it in Week 11. No one ended up winning last week's giveaway on my Twitter profile, so this week we will recycle the prize. I will post the giveaway question before the 1 p.m. games, and every question will have a deadline. Be sure to set notifications on the Hatbox Twitter profile so you do not miss out. You must follow the account, retweet the question, and use the hashtag in your response to the question when prompted to do so. This week's prize is a cold weather beanie of the team of your choosing. Don't forget to set your lineups in my Pick'em and Survivor pools, and don't forget to answer this week's question of the week. I hope all of you have a great week making your predictions and enjoy the games. I'll see you dudes in the next video. Peace.